All right. So I am super excited to have Laura Earley with us today on Marketing Boss Lounge. Our live session today, she is a psychic business consultant, and she is going to be talking to us today about how to build a soul-aligned business and how to make money doing it. So I'm going to let you introduce yourself, Laura, and make sure that I don't jack anything up. So go ahead.
All right. Hi, everybody. I read souls for a living, hence the psychic part. I am formally trained, though, as a licensed psychotherapist. So it's kind of a little bit of an anomaly because you have like the psychic piece and then you have the clinical therapist piece. And really my love is combining the two because I am helping people understand who they are at soul level, their gifts, so that they can live according to their divine nature, so they can build a business that is in flow with their natural energies. But then I'm also pulling a lot of the mindset training that I learned as a therapist, because the reality is anytime that we go to up-level our business or embark in a new venture, there's a lot of fear, there's a lot of self-sabotage.
Absolutely.
So it's one thing to know the information and to say, okay, here's what you need to do, but it's another thing to actually do it without getting in your own way.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So that's great. And so I think I love the way that you call it soul aligned, as opposed to, just trying to get it all right. It's really about who you are in the heart of your being. So I love that. All right. So you just took away my first question, I think, but I'm going to ask it anyway. So which is, what is your superpower and how do you relate it to businesses?
I am divine self-expression. That is my general energetic purpose, which means that I'm really good at teaching, communicating, speaking, writing, copy. Words are my thing. I do tend to talk a lot. And it's funny because growing up, I thought that I was broken in that way because everybody's like, oh, you're so chatty. You're so chatty. On this message that I'm so chatty, it is bad.
And that's bad. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So I suppressed my voice a lot. And when I actually started doing this work and gave myself permission to do it, it was like, oh, gosh, this makes so much sense based on what comes naturally to me.
Yeah.
So applying that to my business, I'm a teacher, I'm a consultant. I teach people who they are at soul level. So as for my purpose, that's it. I do have, we all have soul specialties too. So for me, it's helping people understand the wisdom behind their experiences, the lessons behind it. And also I'm an energy worker. So we have like a purpose at soul level, but we also have like a couple things that we do really, really well that helps us define and narrow how we best serve.
That's great. And when you said that you have, what did you just call it? Did you call soul
specialties?
Soul specialties. Tell me a little bit about that. That sounds intriguing.
It's just like 2 or 3 things that we do really, really well that we were created at soul level to do. So we all have that general purpose. Like for me, it's self-expression, it's communication. But then underneath that, there are different little specialties that we can get into. Like I've come across souls that are, engineer souls that are great at building and putting things together. I come across people who work really well with like a community, building a community in some way, helping with animals, helping with children.
Yeah.
So it basically helps narrow down that broad general.
That bigger picture of who they believe they are. That sounds great. So talk to me about what you do in relationship to businesses. So you read energy, you can help identify someone's soul alignment in terms of what it is that they want to do. What kind of businesses do you work with?
I work mostly with entrepreneurs, people who are self-employed. And my work is a little bit of twofold because I have, a group of clientele where they're just starting out and they really want to create a business that works for them, that's suited to them. Because here's what happens. Most of us that start the entrepreneurial journey are older. We've already had a career. We've already had training. And it gets really confusing between what was I created to do versus what do I happen to be good at because I have the or
Goodness.
what do I think I should be doing because my parents are telling me, oh, you should follow the family, business here.
That's right.
Or, you should be doing this because you make more money. So it's really confusing. And so I help people who are just starting out figure out the difference and gain clarity and validate their experience. Say, okay, this is how I can create a marketing plan based on how I do it best. This is how I can run my business. So the reading part is helpful there. Now, because I can read energy, someone that has an established business that is stuck and they're like, I don't know why, I've hit that plateau. I can also read what's going on in the business. So we have body energy, we have business energy, and depending on what's going on with my clients, I can tap into both.
That's awesome. And so, it's funny that you say that in terms of people who are older, because I consider myself to be an older person. That's all right. I'm certainly not a spring chicken. And so, I have that same struggle. And so how would you best advise someone who's starting off to reach out? Because you think when you have your own career that you're just ready to just jump in and not really seek the advice of a professional like you. And if I had, I probably wouldn't have floundered, but I didn't even know that I needed it. So what's your advice for someone who's starting off, who thinks they know what they want to do, but they really probably need to get some clarity?
Well, here's the thing. If you think you know what you want to do and you go out and do it and it's not working, you're not making money, it is a struggle, or you're hearing the quiet silence of
crickets. That's right. Chirp, chirp, chirp.
It's usually a good sign that, hey, I need somebody to help me. And that's exactly what happened to me. I had a bunch of different careers, things that I happened to be good at.
Yep.
But I felt like something was missing. And even when I was doing therapy, I loved it. It did kind of align with, some of my gifts, but I was so unfulfilled because I was denying a part of me that I thought was too out there.
Yes.
Like, I'm a clinical therapist. And
that's right.
Evidence-based and works. Can't be a psychic, that's not how it should.
That's not what it's supposed to be. Like, who are you to decide that that's what you should be able to do?
Right. So, I struggled. I did it myself. I was on that journey for 2.5 years. I think I made like $4,000 a year in my business, and it was a struggle and it was hard. And that's when I got a mentor who really gave me permission to step into my gifts. So that's how I discovered, that's what I need.
I absolutely love the way that you said permission to step into your gifts, because I think particularly, and I was on vacation last week and I was struggling with this whole concept of, coming out of corporate America into the online space and giving myself permission to be me, exactly the way that I am, not trying to sugarcoat it in the corporate way that I've been doing it, for so long, but actually just permission to be me. And I love the way that you've said that. So, okay. So what would be the number one advice you would give a startup company?
Get clarity. Get clarity as to who you are, how you do things. Kind of start out building a little bit of a barrier between you and what other people are feeding you.
Yep.
Start from within, build the business.
Absolutely.
Within. Block out the noise. And it takes a little bit of work to do that. It's really hard. It's a noisy world out there. But that's the best advice I give people. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing, because it's kind of like, okay, you need to stop listening to people. Even if they're asking really good advice, it doesn't mean that it's like good advice for you.
That's right. That's so right. And I think what's so amazing is that, I was reading an article about the information world, and that we are no longer we're not in we're not in an industrial information era. This is all about information, and it's very easy to get inundated by experts and articles and books and people and your friends and your family and your kids and everyone telling you and giving you all this information about what you should and should not do. So being able to silence that.
I can give you a very simple but good example of that. When I was first starting out, as like a health coach, I tried to be a health coach. And, I was getting every which way of marketing. You need to be on social media accounts, and, you need to be on all these different things. I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know Twitter. And I'm if you're not on Twitter, I'm like, oh shit, I need to be on Twitter. So I took a marketing course about Twitter, and here I am trying to tweet. What's the thing? I'm divine self-expression. I have a lot of words. My stuff.
135 characters is.
140 characters. And I had 13 followers on Twitter. And it's I invested time and energy and money in this.
You're like, why is my Twitter account not doing what I wanted to do? Damn it. I need more tweets.
I know. And so after I got into this work and I started training and discovering who I was, it was like, oh honey, your divine self-expression, Twitter is just not.
That is not the right platform for you to express.
Oh, they're like,
really?
Yeah.
Really? We can't salvage this? I need to salvage it.
I know. It's but I've invested so much time.
That's a great example, because I am of the same space. I really struggle with, I don't tweet. It's part of my marketing channel to do that. I'm most likely going to go with Pinterest as a new marketing channel for our company, because that is the way that I express myself, through imagery. And I really kind of like that platform. But you're right, to be, you've got all these people telling you this is the way that you are going to be successful. Adopt this way. And I, the older I get, the more I believe that there's too many different ways for you to do it. You just got to really figure out what's the best way for you and your style and your business. And so I love that. Okay. So you've given the number one advice for a startup. What's the number one advice you give for somebody who's been doing it and they've been chucking along for years and they really need to maybe reach out and they don't know it yet? What's a sign that would tell them?
Well, again, stagnant revenue, they're out there actually taking inspired action, but revenue is dried up and they're feeling unfulfilled, and, they're starting to get confused. And then you start to doubt yourself. Well, gosh, what's wrong with me? Am I really, cut out for this, or what am I doing wrong? For me, the only way I know how to do it is the quick and easy way, which is, giving me your business information. I read your business and I can tell you exactly what's stuck, your systems, your tools, somebody you hired. I mean, for me, that's the quick and easy way.
Yep.
And that's the preferred way. I would think most people want the quick and easy way, but what tends to happen is they do it the long and hard way. They're maybe it's
that's so much better, to do it the hardest way possible.
Right. Oh, maybe it's my marketing copy. Let me tweak my landing pages. Oh, maybe it's, my emails. Maybe I need to, start hitting the pain points more. And what they end up doing is they end up fixing something that isn't even broken in the first place, but they're randomly guessing as what's not working and throwing spaghetti at the wall. And for me, that's painful. So my advice is, just diagnose what the issue is. Look, this is what's happening in your business. But I don't know, people tend to do it the long way.
Well, and I think too is that we don't want to acknowledge that it's something simple, or, it's all this information that's going in our brain, right? It's copy, it's images, it's, maybe I need to invest more money in ads. Maybe I need to be tweeting instead of, Instagramming or whatever that is. And so instead of just sort of taking a step back, and that's the power of having a third party work with you. So having a coach work with you, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, well, absolutely. It's the same thing. You aren't feeling well and something's wrong, but instead of going to a medical professional, whether it's conventional or a functional medicine person, to diagnose, they're like, oh, well, let me go take some turmeric capsules and see.
That's right. I'm going to drink more water.
Right, or your car is broken down the side of the road, and instead of fixing, like diagnosing what's wrong, you're like, well, maybe I'll just, put more gas in it.
So you hit home, because I ran out of gas the other day on the highway, mind you. And the first thing, because my car has been acting up like crazy, I've had to get it fixed like 3 times, and I'm thinking, oh shit, there's something wrong with the car. Like, I'm gonna have to go and spend another $1,200, and I ran out of gas.
And you ran out of gas.
it was simple as gas. Like,
it's not that easy. So it's like diagnosis is everything. You waste your time and money if you don't adequately diagnose.
That's right.
What's going on.
Absolutely. All right. So that's great. So you've given some advice for somebody who's just starting off, someone who's been in the business, who's been in business for a while, and they probably need to have a gut check. So let's talk about what do you really learn about soul level? Like, what can you learn about your soul level?
Oh boy, tons of stuff. We talked about soul purpose, soul specialties. You also have a soul culture depending on what star system your soul was born in, kind of like, depending on where you were born, you might resonate with the American culture, you might resonate, with French culture. So you have a soul level culture that just kind of dictates how you operate best. I can look up like spirit guides and your helper people, and that's more like fun, fun stuff. Also times in history that you experience great abundance, that's kind of fun to look up too. I can look up how you manifest things. There's like 7 different categories.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like how you create results for yourself. It's one thing to know like the energies that you align most to, but like how you do those is essentially like how you manifest. For example, some of us can sit and meditate and create fantastic results. Other of us are more external. We need to interact with people, whereas journaling does like nothing for us. We get even more confused when we journal. So, there's a specific way how you do things at soul level. And then I also do some past life research for you, because here's what tends to happen. We make mistakes, both present life and past life. Normally we fix them, but if we don't, now this negative karmic consequence is following us. So I look up, what's standing in the way of you being able to use your goals. And, we do some clearing work. So it's a little bit of like educational, learning about yourself, how to apply it, but also a little bit of healing work, because let me tell you, history repeats itself. If you've been doing something for like 17 lifetimes, you're still
you're still, and that's so true. That's so true that you do. I always say it's funny, like that's got to be my coin firm. It's funny, or it's funny that you say, but that history and how that sticks with you, and you not even knowing it, I think is what is important too. So being aware of it so that you can either adopt it or make changes towards it, I think is great stuff. Yes. Yeah. Okay. So soul level. So now all that you've described, people who are not familiar with this concept of soul level alignment may really have a hard time connecting that to business. So make the connection just one more time for those people who are like, what, huh? Right? I get it. I totally get it, because having not been soul aligned before professionally and now being soul aligned, I definitely understand the connection. So help bridge that gap for somebody who's like, just like clueless right now.
Okay, I can. It's probably best like if I give an example. Like
perfect.
Together. All right. So the first clue is if things are flowing for you, or you're swimming upstream. If you're swimming upstream, that's just a sign of, okay, you aren't really aligning with how you do things. So for me, I'll just use myself as an example. I am divine self-expression, which means that I effectively attract people through words. Whether it's written, whether it's speaking, I, would make a great copywriter. So when I write emails, people are like, oh my gosh, I love what you say. You really inspire me. So for me in my business, I focus on doing blog writing. I also do a lot of videos and a lot of speaking, communication. My soul specialties are reading energy and helping people process their experiences. So in my business, I'm reading energy with my clients, and a lot of the past life work I do is really healing. really business problems are personal problems in disguise. So the work that I do.
Oh, that's powerful.
Yeah.
That's so powerful.
It's true, because your business is a mirror of who you are. And if you have a lot of shame energy and a lot of like anxiety and stuff that you're like, gosh, I don't really know what this is coming from. You can actually figure that out and do something about it. So then for me, and I'm like, oh, where am I going with this? See, that's the problem with divine self-expression. So it's digging up like the past life stuff. I would dig that up and see how that's interfering with business, which I did for myself. And, I had a bunch of, crap in my past going on, and I cleared it and understood how it was manifesting today. And then I also know how I do things. I am external. I am best at getting clients and connecting with people through interaction. I have a lot of consistency energy. So for me, I take action, like the same action consistently. I have a routine for myself. That's how I do things and how I'm most comfortable and how I stay productive. So I'm taking all of these things I've learned about myself at soul level, and I'm building a consulting and speaking business that's teaching. I'm using my gifts in my work. Culturally, I come from a lineage of people who love systems, and I think I was born with like highlighters and sticky notes. Color-coded folders, and so I keep myself very routined and structured, because that's how I do things. I go out and speak to people. I connect with people. I love chatting and having conversations like this. So I am basically making business decisions on who I am at soul level and how I have a good time and how things just flow naturally for me.
That's awesome. That really is awesome. And so the thing, I mean, you've said so many amazing things in terms of, where someone, because, I feel like even, I've been doing business, I've been in business for a while, but just really finding that the key word I think that you said that really is good for me is being in flow, that not swimming upstream. And I think that we may, as humans, think that it's okay to be struggling, right? You hear that hashtag, the struggle is real, and it's really not supposed to be a struggle, right?
No, as divine beings, we're supposed to experience abundance. But we have, we also have the ego part of us. We have this monkey mind and these beliefs that we've acquired. Business is hard. It's hard to be in business. You have to work like a dog in order to make a cent. You better put in 80 hours. Otherwise, you aren't going to make any money, and you're lazy if you don't do that. So we've taken on all of these beliefs from society about how hard it's supposed to be in business. And I'm just like, oh my God, it's not supposed to be that hard. We're not created to struggle.
That's right.
Yeah.
And we are conditioned to believe that it's supposed to be very difficult. You have to excuse me. I've got this crick in my throat.
Have some water.
You're stirring me up. I'm so excited. I don't know what to do. No. I think well, yeah, I do actually.
There you go.
Oh no, I took it out.
That happens to me a lot, because I'm talking and stuff, and then I'm like, I start choking on something. I'm like, oh, and I'm like drinking,
drinking like gallons of water. That's right.
Nice, but. Yeah.
But okay, so I do like this whole concept that you're talking about is that being in flow, and I think that was for me a very big aha moment when I worked with a coach with that things are not supposed to be a struggle, that it's supposed to be easy for you to flow into what it is that you're meant to do. So I love the message that you've given, and I love what your business and your practice is about. So talk to us about how someone can work with you, and what are the ways that someone would work with you?
Someone can work with me. Like I actually get on the phone with people because this work is very unique. I want to make sure that people are, my clients are good for me and I'm a good fit for them. So my work with anybody always starts with a complimentary call, and people can go to my website and sign up for that. It's just my first and last name.com, Earley.com. And you can sign up for a complimentary call there, because really I need to see like where you are, what's going on with you, what you'd like to see different. This isn't a cookie cutter approach. It's not like you're buying, a blueprint on how to effectively use Twitter in your marketing.
That's right. 5 steps on how to be doing what you want to be doing. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah, so it always starts with a call, and I work in programs. I used to do individual readings. There's a lot of psychics out there that will do like a reading. They'll do a soul reading and give you the information. But here's what I found. I found that most people love getting information, and they take the information from that single reading and they feel really good like for a couple of weeks.
Yeah. Oh my God. And
then they do like nothing with it.
That's right.
Because here's the thing, your ego gets in the way. There's a lot of resistance and fear of making change. Sometimes what I find out requires significant change. Sometimes it just requires tweaks. So I started doing more programs. I no longer just do single readings. I'm more interested in working with people to get results and
absolutely
experience transformation. And even when I'm reading a business energy, like I'll tell somebody exactly what's not working in their business. And then like 2 months later, I'm like, oh, hey, how's it going? Because I happen to run into them. They're like, oh, I haven't done anything. And I'm like, what?
Really?
Yeah,
really?
So now I do readings, but it's more in a program. You have some videos to help with explanations to really understand this work. And then I do biweekly Q&A calls for support. I do follow-up sessions. So it's more now of a program that helps you be accountable and take action, work through any resistance that you might have, versus just here's a reading, here's your information. See ya.
See ya. We'll be back in 20 years to see how you took that information and processed it. And it's because I've created programs, I've participated in programs. I have a coaches plural, not just one, because it takes a lot. It takes a village to change a lifetime of bullshit to deal with, right? So when are your programs ongoing, or do they start at particular times, or how does that normally work?
Anybody can enroll in a program at any time. It's not like routine. Usually we're working together about 8 weeks by the time we do the reading, and whether I'm teaching you about how to create your business or I'm doing, the business research. It's usually an 8-week process between here's what's going on and let's take some action and do some follow-up. The biweekly Q&As, people have access to me. It's kind of like a forever ongoing thing. I usually have people that, go from one program to another. Or,
absolutely.
Get like, once they've had a program with me, if they want to do like a spirit guide reading or they want something else, then, I tack it on. But the Q&As, they have access to me like, whenever, just to clarify things, or, oh, I've been doing this and all of a sudden I got stuck, and help me work on this mindset issue. So it's almost like, there is a program to follow for 8 weeks where we really take momentum, but I'm always there for people, even if it's like 3 months down the line and
absolutely,
they need a little nudge or some inspiration or
some inspiration. That sounds great. So, it has been really great talking with you, Laurel. And so what powerful thing would you like to leave our audience with relative to what you do?
Oh gosh, joy, success, confidence, it all comes from inside. If you are looking on the outside to get those things for yourself, you're going to be very disappointed.
Very disappointed.
Yeah. So I want everybody to go out there and experience joy in life, success in business, and do that starting from the inside out.
That's awesome. It was a pleasure talking to you. Wow. And we will be talking for sure soon. So it was great talking.
Thank you.